Hey guys, it's Winter Hogs here, and today I am going to fix a customer's DJI F450. So I'd like to say thanks to him for letting me have this opportunity to fix his quad, and we're going to dive right into it. So what needs to be done on this thing is basically he needs to have the actual transmitter to talk to the aircraft. He needs to have one of the ESCs changed out because it basically crapped out on him, and he also has a bunch of FPV gear, which is behind me, which, sorry if I knocked the tripod there. He actually has the Fat Shark FPV goggles, which I really do enjoy. I actually used to run Fat Shark goggles. Here they are with the 5.8 gigahertz already in them. Even comes with a nice little case too. So yeah, I used to run I used to have Fat Sharks, but then I went to a monitor. But, you know, sometimes I still wish to have the old monitor lying around. The old goggles lying around. Also, he bought a GPS tracker. Came with a tracker. So in case you lose it, which is a really good investment. And it came with a whole bunch of ESCs and a lot of parts. So first what we're going to do is we're going to start out by binding. And I'll show you how to bind. And actually, before I get to this, I'd also like to thank Kijiji too. Because without Kijiji, this wouldn't be possible. So thanks, Kijiji. Yeah. Okay, so let's start out first. Number one, what you want to do is you want to grab your bind plug. And you also want to have a battery and your transmitter. This is a Spectrum. Futaba has a different way of binding than Spectrum does. But today I'm just going to show you a Spectrum. So here we go. What you want to do first is you want to find where it's basically labeled battery bind. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's labeled battery bind. It's right beside the throttle, just to the left of the throttle. So what you want to do is you want to insert your bind plug in to the battery bind. Doesn't matter which way it goes, you know, any way. There's no wrong polarity. If it looks something like this here with white, a red, and a black, or a yellow, red, and brown, then you don't want to put that in there because that would not work at all. So what you have to do with this is, if you have it just outside the model, what you want to do is you want to plug in a power, any 5-volt input to any one of the ports except the battery bind, which is the far one on the left. Futaba is different. Futaba actually has an actual push button that you use to actually hit bind. This one here, it's pretty good. I used to do Spectrum. I used to have Spectrum around, and it works pretty good. So here's how to bind. So, you know, now your bind plug's in where it says battery bind. Okay, it's in your battery bind. What you're going to do next is power on the aircraft. And when you power on the aircraft, you'll see what happens. Plug this in. So, you can see the battery here. You see how it starts flashing, and don't mind about this actual LED light down here. It has nothing to do with it. You can see how it's flashing orange. And basically that means that it's in bind mode. So what I do is I wait about 5 seconds, which you should usually do. Make sure all your switches and your throttle and stuff is all the way down. And what you want to do, because this is a Spectrum DX7, this is one of the earlier versions, there's actually a thing here that says a back button, which is labeled bind range test. So some of the newer radios, depends on which ones you get, will have an actual toggle switch. Or actually an actual momentary switch, I should say, or some of them will actually have an actual button there, just like a DX8. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to hold on the back button. So you hold it in just like that, and you power it on. Now you see the light there. It's gonna stop. It's gonna flash like that until it goes solid, and you know you're bound. Then you can let go, and then you can power cycle the aircraft, and you want to take out bind plug because you don't need that no more. Then you want to power cycle, and you also want to make sure that when you have a quadcopter, any multi-rotor, it's in airplane mode. I'm going to show you guys later on how to change that and also how to set up the actual NASA itself. So that's that. Let's plug it back in again and check it over. We're going to do this here. So as you can see, now we have a solid light there, and everything here is looking pretty good. Check it over here. Yeah, it's doing pretty good. It binds, it's working. Next, what we're gonna do is we are gonna check over the wiring while we swap out the ESC, and that's gonna be a little bit of a process. So we will get to that in a minute. So I'll come back to that.